Lunar catastrophe. Commander Sarah Chen squinted at the holographic display floating above her control panel. The readouts from her ship's sensors made no sense. She was piloting the XAS-42, Curiosity's Child, humanity's first antimatter-powered spacecraft, on what should have been a routine lunar mapping mission. But there was nothing routine about the energy signature pulsing from the far side of the moon. "Houston, are you seeing this?" Sarah's voice was steady, masking the excitement bubbling up inside her. Discovery was why she'd become an astronaut after all. Static crackled through her comm system. "Affirmative, Commander. We're analyzing the data now. Maintain your current orbit and continue monitoring." Sarah smirked. As if she'd do anything else. Her fingers danced across the haptic interface, fine-tuning the ship's sensors. The energy signature grew stronger, more defined. It was like nothing she'd ever seen before. A swirling vortex of quantum fluctuations that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Houston, I'm getting some strange gravitational readings." It's as if. Sarah's words were cut short as the ship suddenly lurched, alarms blaring throughout the cockpit. "Mayday! Mayday! I've lost control of the ship." The Curiosity's Child spun wildly, caught in an invisible tempest. Sarah's training kicked in, her hands flying over the controls as she fought to stabilize the craft. But it was like trying to steer a leaf in a hurricane. "Houston, I'm caught in some kind of gravitational anomaly. The antimatter containment field is fluctuating. I can't." Another violent shake cut her off. Warning lights flashed across her display. "Containment breach imminent." Sarah's mind raced. The containment breach would result in an explosion that would make nuclear weapons look like firecrackers. She had to act fast. Initiating emergency protocols, she announced, more for the black box recorder than for Houston. Communication with Earth was now impossible, cut off by whatever force had ensnared her ship. With a series of rapid commands, Sarah rerouted power from non-essential systems to reinforce the containment field. The ship groaned in protest, but the warning stabilized. For now. But she wasn't out of danger yet. The Curiosity's Child was still plummeting towards the lunar surface, caught in the grip of the mysterious anomaly. Sarah's eyes darted between her instruments and the rapidly approaching moon. She had one chance. With a deep breath, she initiated the emergency landing sequence. Retro thrusters fired, slowing her descent, but the gravitational pull was too strong. Gritting her teeth, Sarah overrode the safety protocols, pushing the engines beyond their limits. The ship shuddered violently, threatening to tear itself apart. Sweat beaded on Sarah's brow as she wrestled with the controls, trying to find a suitable landing site amidst the cratered lunar landscape rushing up to meet her. Then she saw it, a relatively flat expanse, hopefully smooth enough to attempt a landing. Sarah angled the ship towards the spot, using every trick she'd learned in countless simulations and her years of flight experience. Come on," she muttered, willing the ship to hold together for just a few more seconds. The Curiosity's Child hit the lunar surface hard, skidding across the gray dust. Metal screamed as the ship's belly scraped against hidden rocks. Sarah was thrown against her restraints, her head snapping forward and then back. After what felt like an eternity, the ship ground to a halt. For a moment, everything was silent save for the hiss of ruptured pipes and the ping of cooling metal. Sarah blinked, taking stock of her situation. She was alive, which was more than she'd expected a few minutes ago. But as the adrenaline faded, pain made itself known, a throbbing in her head, bruises from the impact. She pushed it aside, focusing on the immediate crisis. "Damage report," she croaked, her throat dry. The ship's eye responded, its usual chipper tone incongruous with the situation. Hull integrity at 64%. Life support systems operational but strained. Antimatter containment field stable but weakening. Communications array non-functional. Engine 1 destroyed. Engines 2 and 3 severely damaged. Sarah let out a shaky breath. Not great, but she was still breathing. That was a start. She unstrapped herself from the pilot's seat, wincing at the movement. The artificial gravity was offline, and she floated gently in the cabin. With practiced ease, she maneuvered towards the emergency kit, retrieving a med pack and quickly treating her most pressing injuries. As she worked, Sarah's mind whirred, analyzing her options. The ship was in no condition for takeoff, and even if it was, the mysterious anomaly might still be active. Communication with Earth was impossible for now. She was truly alone, farther from help than any human had ever been. But Sarah Chen hadn't become the youngest commander in the space program by giving up when things got tough. She allowed herself exactly 10 seconds to feel the full weight of her fear and isolation. Then she pushed it aside. It was time to get to work. First priority: assess the full extent of the damage and stabilize the ship's systems. Sarah made her way to the engine room, using her suit's built-in diagnostic tools to get a more detailed analysis of the ship's condition. The news wasn't good. The antimatter containment field was slowly degrading. She had maybe 48 hours before a catastrophic breach became unavoidable. Less if the strange energy that had brought her down was still affecting the ship's systems. As Sarah worked, rerouting power and sealing off damaged sections of the ship, a glint outside the viewport caught her eye. She paused, floating over to get a better look. Her breath caught in her throat. The crater she'd landed in, it was perfectly circular, too perfect to be natural. And at its center, half buried in the lunar regolith, was something that was decidedly not a rock. It was a structure of some kind, its surface smooth and reflective, unmarred by the harsh lunar environment. It pulsed with a faint blue light, in perfect synchronization with the beeping of her ship's energy detection systems. Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. This was no natural phenomenon. She hadn't just crash-landed on the moon. She'd stumbled upon something that would rewrite humanity's understanding of the universe. Excitement warred with caution in her mind. As a scientist, she was itching to explore this discovery. But as a commander, she knew her first responsibility was to her own survival and the safeguarding of her ship. A plan began to form in Sarah's mind. She'd need to venture outside, get a closer look at the structure. Perhaps it held the key to repairing her ship, or at least to boosting her communications array enough to contact Earth. But first, she needed to stabilize the antimatter containment field. Sarah turned back to her work with renewed determination. Unknown wonders awaited her outside, but they'd have to wait. She had a ship to save and a mystery to unravel. As she worked, Sarah couldn't help but smile. When she'd launched from Earth just a few days ago, she'd hoped to gather some new data on lunar composition. Instead, she might have just made the greatest discovery in human history. It just went to show. In space, you never knew what the next moment might bring. And Sarah Chen was ready for whatever the universe threw at her next. Secrets beneath the surface. Commander Sarah Chen took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the airlock controls. She'd done dozens of spacewalks before, but never in a situation like this. Never alone on the far side of the moon, with an alien structure waiting to be explored. Get it together, Chen, she muttered to herself. It's just another walk in the park. A very weird, potentially world-changing park. With a hiss, the airlock cycled open. Sarah pushed off gently, floating out into the stark lunar landscape. Her boots touched down on the gray regolith, sending up a small puff of dust that hung momentarily in the airless environment before settling back down. Sarah took a moment to survey her surroundings. The Curiosity's child lay behind her, a wounded beast of metal and composite materials, scorched and battered, but still intact. In front of her, the mysterious structure beckoned. As she approached, Sarah's suit sensors began to pick up increasingly strange readings. The structure seemed to be emitting a low-level electromagnetic field, unlike anything in her database. But what truly caught her attention was how the light played across its surface. That's impossible, Sarah breathed, her scientific mind reeling. The structure wasn't reflecting light as it should. Instead, it seemed to be bending it, creating a subtle distortion effect. It was as if the object was trying to hide itself, to blend in with the lunar surface. Sarah reached out, her gloved hand hovering just above the structure's surface. She hesitated for a moment, then steeled herself and made contact. A jolt of energy surged through her suit, not painful but startling. Sarah yanked her hand back instinctively, but the damage, if any, was already done. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a mirage dissipating in the desert, the lunar landscape around her began to shift and waver. "Oh my God," Sarah gasped. The crater she had crashed in was disappearing, revealing a vast, bowl-shaped depression easily 10 times larger than what she had initially perceived. And at its center, no longer hidden by whatever advanced camouflage technology had concealed it, stood a colossal alien facility. The structure was unlike anything Sarah had ever seen or imagined. It was an intricate blend of organic and geometric shapes, its surface a mesmerizing swirl of metallic hues that seemed to shift and change as she watched. Spires and domes rose gracefully from a central hub, while strange appendages that might have been antennae or energy collectors reached towards the star-filled sky. Sarah's mind raced, trying to process what she was seeing. This wasn't just some abandoned outpost or automated beacon. This was a fully fledged alien base, hidden on Earth's moon for who knows how long. Her comm system crackled to life, startling her. "Commander Chen, do you copy? This is Houston. We've re-established contact. What's your status?" Sarah almost laughed. How could she even begin to explain this? "Houston, you're not going to believe this, but I'm standing in front of an alien structure that makes the Great Pyramid look like a kid's sandcastle." There was a long pause. "Commander, please repeat. Did you say alien structure?" "Affirmative, Houston. I'm sending visual data now. Prepare to have your minds blown." As her suit's cameras transmitted the impossible scene back to Earth, Sarah began a methodical survey of the facility's exterior. Her training kicked in, pushing aside the sheer awe of the moment as she documented everything she could. The base appeared to be inactive, or at least in some kind of dormant state. There were no signs of recent activity, no lights or movement. Yet it didn't feel abandoned. It was more like a sleeping giant, waiting to be awakened. As Sarah circled the structure, she noticed what appeared to be an entrance, a large, oval-shaped portal set into the base of the central hub. Unlike the rest of the facility, which seemed to reject her suit's scanning attempts, this area emitted a faint energy signature. "Houston, I found what looks like a way in. I'm going to attempt to gain entry." "Negative, Commander," came the immediate response. "The risks are too great. We need time to analyze the data you've sent and consult with experts. Return to your ship and await further instructions." Sarah frowned. She understood their caution, but every instinct she had was screaming at her to press on. Who knew how long this facility had been here, hidden from humanity? Who knew what secrets it held, what advancements it might offer? And more importantly, what if it posed some kind of threat? She made her decision. "Houston, I appreciate your concern, but we don't have the luxury of time. My ship's antimatter containment field is degrading. This facility might hold the key to repairing it and getting me home safely. I'm going in." Ignoring the protests from Mission Control, Sarah approached the entrance. As she drew closer, the portal began to glow with a soft, blue light. Symbols she didn't recognize appeared on its surface, shifting and changing rapidly. "It's some kind of lock or security system," Sarah murmured, half to herself and half for the benefit of her suit's recorders. "But it seems to be scanning me." The symbols suddenly froze, then rearranged themselves into a pattern that, impossibly, Sarah recognized. It was a spiral galaxy, a crude representation of the Milky Way. A holographic interface flickered to life in front of her. Alien characters danced across it, but as Sarah watched, they began to morph into something recognizable. English words, halting and oddly constructed, but understandable. "We will see on Explorer. long, heavy we weighty for one such as you. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. This wasn't just first contact. This was an invitation. With trembling hands, she reached out to the interface. As her gloved fingers made contact, the portal arised open with a soft hiss, revealing the dimly lit corridor beyond. "Houston, I'm going in," Sarah announced, her voice tight with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "If you don't hear from me in 1 hour, assume, well, I don't know what to assume. This is uncharted territory." Taking a deep breath, Commander Sarah Chen stepped across the threshold and into the alien facility. The portal closed behind her with a quiet whoosh, leaving her alone in the semi-darkness. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum, lights began to flicker on along the corridor walls. They pulsed with a gentle, organic rhythm, as if the facility itself was coming to life around her. Sarah moved forward cautiously, her every step echoing in the alien hallway. The architecture was unlike anything she'd ever seen. Curves and angles that seemed to defy Euclidean geometry, materials that her suit couldn't identify. As she ventured deeper into the facility, Sarah's mind whirled with questions. Who built this place? Why was it here, on Earth's moon? And why had it been waiting for someone like her? She rounded a corner and gasped. Before her stretched a vast chamber, easily the size of a football stadium. And at its center, suspended in a column of shimmering energy, was an object that made Sarah's scientific mind reel. It was a perfect sphere, about the size of a beach ball, its surface a swirling mass of what looked like liquid starlight. As Sarah watched, mesmerized, images began to form within it, star systems, galaxies, things she couldn't even begin to comprehend. A holographic interface similar to the one at the entrance materialized before her. The alien script appeared, then transformed into English. "The ENEXUSAYs, young one. Are you prepared to see the UNIVRC as it is?" Sarah Chen, the first human to set foot in an alien structure, faced a choice that would change the course of human history. With a deep breath and a silent prayer, she reached out towards the interface. The chamber filled with a brilliant light, and Sarah felt herself being drawn into a realm of knowledge beyond her wildest imagination. The adventure had only just begun. First contact fiasco. The moment Commander Sarah Chen's hand touched the holographic interface, the world around her exploded into a cacophony of light and sound. The Nexus pulsed, its swirling surface now a maelstrom of cosmic imagery. Sarah felt a rush of information flood her mind, threatening to overwhelm her senses. But just as quickly as it began, it stopped. The Nexus dimmed, and the chamber fell silent. Sarah blinked, trying to process what had just happened. She felt different, as if the universe itself had downloaded a portion of its knowledge directly into her brain. Before she could fully comprehend the change, a new alarm blared through the facility. The holographic interface in front of her flickered, displaying a message that made her blood run cold. "Warning. Dimensional barrier breach, DKTCTD. Multiple entities AP Puroiching." Sarah's heart raced. "Houston, do you copy? Something's happening. I think we're about to have company, and I don't think they're from around here." Static was her only reply. Whatever was coming had cut off her communication with Earth. The chamber began to vibrate, the air itself seeming to ripple and distort. With a sound like reality tearing, two distinct portals materialized on opposite sides of the room. From the first portal emerged beings that defied description. They were vaguely humanoid in shape, but their bodies seemed to be composed entirely of living crystal. Each movement sent prismatic light cascading across their faceted forms. Their eyes, if you could call them that, were swirling vortexes of energy. The crystalline beings regarded Sarah with what she could only interpret as surprise. One of them stepped forward, its voice a harmonious resonance that seemed to bypass her ears and speak directly to her mind. A carbon-based life form. Here, impossible. The Zarquin Imperium claims this nexus point by right of cosmic seniority. Before Sarah could respond, the second portal flared. From it emerged beings that were even stranger than the first. They appeared to be living constructs of pure energy, their forms constantly shifting and flowing. Where the crystalline beings were all angles and facets, these new arrivals were curves and waves. One of the energy beings flowed forward, its voice a melodic hum that filled the air. The Novanites reject your claim. Zarquin. This nexus point falls under the protection of the Galactic Accord. It is not yours to take. Sarah's mind reeled. Two advanced alien species, and they both seemed to think they had a claim on this facility, and neither of them had expected to find a human here. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. It was time to be the ambassador humanity never knew it needed. Greetings, Sarah said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I am Commander Sarah Chen of Earth. This facility is located on my planet's moon. Perhaps we can discuss this situation calmly. Both groups turned to stare at her, as if just remembering she was there. The lead Zarquin's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been agitation. Earth? Moon? These designations are meaningless. This nexus point has been hidden for eons, waiting for a worthy civilization to claim it. Clearly, the universe has chosen the Zarquin. The Novanite representative pulsed with disagreement. The nexus chooses no one. It is a repository of universal knowledge, meant to be protected and studied, not claimed and exploited. Sarah could feel the tension in the room rising. The Zarquin were taking on aggressive stances, their crystalline bodies growing sharp edges. The Novanites were pulsing more rapidly, energy crackling around them. She had to do something fast. Drawing on the strange new knowledge the Nexus had given her, Sarah stepped forward. Wait, she called out. The Nexus. It shared something with me. I think I understand its purpose. Both alien groups paused, their attention fully on Sarah now. She took a deep breath and continued. This facility, this Nexus, it's not meant to be claimed. It's a test, a challenge. The knowledge it contains can only be accessed by a species that proves itself worthy. The lead Zarquin's voice was skeptical. And how, human, would one prove worthy? Sarah's mind raced. She needed a solution that would prevent conflict and buy her time. Then an idea struck her. Through a series of trials, she said, hoping she sounded more confident than she felt. Tests of intelligence, creativity, and ethics. The Nexus showed me glimpses of these challenges. They're designed to be solved cooperatively, drawing on the strengths of different species. The Novanet representative flowed closer, its energy form rippling with curiosity. Intriguing. This aligns with our understanding of cosmic balance. No single species can hold all knowledge. The Zarquin leader's crystalline form shifted, edges softening slightly. Trials, you say? The Zarquin excel at overcoming challenges. We might be willing to consider this approach. Sarah allowed herself a small sigh of relief. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Then I propose we each select representatives to attempt these trials together. We can learn from each other and perhaps find a way to share the knowledge of the Nexus peacefully. As the aliens discussed among themselves, Sarah's mind was working overtime. She had no idea if what she'd said about the trials was true or just something her brain had conjured up to prevent a war. But she did know one thing. Humans had a knack for thinking outside the box. If these trials did exist, she might just have a chance at holding her own against these advanced beings. The Zarquin leader stepped forward. We accept your proposal, human. The Zarquin will participate in these trials. But be warned, we will not tolerate deception. The Novanite representative pulsed in agreement. The Novanites also agree. Let wisdom and cooperation guide us. Sarah nodded, trying to hide her relief. Then let's begin. The first trial awaits us deeper in the facility. Follow me. As she led the alien representatives deeper into the moon base, Sarah's mind raced. She had no idea what challenges lay ahead or if she could actually compete with beings so far advanced beyond humanity. But she did know one thing. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, now rested on her shoulders. With each step, Sarah sent a silent prayer to the universe. She had wanted to make a groundbreaking discovery on this mission, to push the boundaries of human knowledge. Well, she had certainly succeeded in that. Now she just had to make sure her discovery didn't lead to humanity's extinction. As they approached a massive door etched with complex symbols, Sarah took a deep breath. Beyond this point, there was no turning back. She was about to pit human ingenuity against the cosmic wisdom of ancient alien races. "Here we go," she muttered to herself. "Time to show the galaxy what humanity is made of." The door slid open, revealing a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and strange, pulsating machinery. The first trial was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in the history of the universe. Sarah Chen, the unexpected ambassador of humanity, stepped forward into the unknown. Whatever happened next would determine the fate of not just Earth, but potentially all of galactic civilization. The first contact fiasco had been averted for now. The real challenge was just beginning. Human ingenuity unleashed. As Commander Sarah Chen stepped into the vast chamber, the air around her hummed with an otherworldly energy. Holographic displays flickered to life, filling the room with a soft, ethereal glow. The Zarquin and Novanite representatives followed close behind, their alien forms a stark reminder of the cosmic stakes at play. A disembodied voice, neither male nor female, echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, seekers of knowledge. To unlock the wisdom of the Nexus, you must prove your worth through 3 trials: wisdom, creativity, and compassion." Sarah's heart raced. She had bluffed about knowing the trials, but it seemed the universe had decided to play along. Now she just had to hope that humanity's unique traits would be enough to level the playing field against these advanced beings. "The trial of wisdom begins now," the voice announced. The chamber shifted, holographic stars and planets materializing around them. In the center, a complex 3D model of a solar system appeared, its celestial bodies moving in intricate patterns. "Balance the system," the voice instructed. "Find harmony where there is chaos." The Zarquin representative moved forward confidently, its crystalline form refracting light as it manipulated the hologram. It applied complex gravitational equations, its movements precise and calculated. Yet after several attempts, the system remained unstable, planets colliding or flying off into space. The Novanite flowed around the model, its energy form pulsing as it attempted to influence the gravitational fields directly. It came closer to a solution, but still, perfect harmony eluded it. Sarah watched carefully, her mind racing. The aliens were approaching the problem with their advanced knowledge of astrophysics, but something felt off. This was supposed to be a test of wisdom, not just intelligence. Then it hit her. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. "May I try?" The aliens moved aside, curiosity and skepticism evident in their alien features. Sarah took a deep breath and began to speak. "In my culture, we have a concept called the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. What if wisdom isn't about perfect calculations, but about finding the right balance?" She began to adjust the model, not with precise mathematical inputs, but with a more intuitive approach. She thought about ecosystems on Earth, how even small changes could have far-reaching effects. As she worked, she explained her thinking out loud. "It's like an ecosystem. Every part affects every other part. Sometimes, the most stable systems have small imperfections that actually help maintain overall balance." To the amazement of all present, the solar system model began to stabilize. Planets found harmonious orbits, asteroids settled into stable belts, and even the central star's output found a steady rhythm. The chamber chimed, and the voice spoke again. "The trial of wisdom is complete. Harmony has been achieved through understanding, not mere calculation." The Zarquin's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been grudging respect. The Novanite pulsed with evident curiosity. Intriguing approach, human. The Novanet hummed. You saw beyond the numbers to the underlying principles. Sarah nodded, trying to hide her relief. 1 down, 2 to go. The trial of creativity begins, the voice announced. The chamber shifted again. This time, a barren planet appeared before them, its surface a desolate wasteland. Create life where none exists, came the instruction. But beware, your creation must be sustainable. The Zarquin moved first, using its advanced knowledge to introduce complex microbial life forms. The microbes spread rapidly but soon died off, unable to adapt to the harsh conditions. The Novanite tried next, attempting to seed the planet with energy-based life similar to itself. The beings flickered into existence but quickly faded, lacking the substance to maintain themselves. Sarah observed their attempts, her mind whirling. Direct approaches weren't working. She needed to think differently. Her gaze fell on her spacesuit, and an idea began to form. Life doesn't always look the way we expect it to, she mused aloud. On Earth, we'd found life in the most extreme environments. In volcanic vents, in Arctic ice, even in rocks deep underground. She stepped up to the planetary model and began her work. Instead of introducing complex life forms, she started with the basics, simple chemical reactions that could occur in the planet's harsh environment. She guided these reactions not towards traditional organic life, but towards something different. What if life here doesn't need water or oxygen? Sarah explained as she worked. What if it's based on silicon instead of carbon? What if it doesn't need to eat or breathe, but instead draws energy directly from the planet's magnetic field? As she spoke, the barren surface of the planet began to change. Crystalline structures emerged, growing and spreading across the landscape. They pulsed with an inner light, reacting to changes in temperature and magnetic fields. It wasn't life as Earth knew it, but it was undeniably alive. The chamber chimed again. The trial of creativity is complete. Life finds a way, even in the most unexpected forms. The Zarquin's faceted eyes swirled with newfound respect. Impressive human. You saw possibilities where we saw only limitations. The Novanite's energy form rippled in agreement. Your species' adaptability is remarkable. Perhaps this is why the Nexus revealed itself to you. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Her crazy idea had worked. But she knew the hardest trial was yet to come. The trial of compassion begins, the voice announced, a hint of solemnity in its tone. The chamber transformed once more. This time, they found themselves surrounded by holographic representations of various alien species, each facing some kind of crisis or suffering. Alleviate the suffering before you, came the instruction. But remember, every action has consequences. Choose wisely. The Zarquin and Novanite representatives looked at each other, then at Sarah. This trial was clearly outside their comfort zones. The Zarquin's crystal form seemed to dim slightly, while the Novanite's energy pulsed erratically. Sarah took a deep breath. This was where humanity's greatest strength, and sometimes its greatest weakness, came into play. Empathy. She stepped forward, carefully observing each scenario. There was a species facing a devastating plague, another in the midst of a civil war, and a third suffering from extreme resource scarcity. Sarah began to work, not by directly solving each problem, but by fostering connections between the different species. She guided plague victims towards those with advanced medical knowledge. She introduced warring factions to neutral mediators. She connected resource-poor worlds with those that had surpluses. As she worked, Sarah explained her approach. Compassion isn't just about fixing problems. It's about empowering others to help themselves and each other. Sometimes, the most compassionate thing we can do is to bring people together and give them the tools to solve their own problems. The holograms began to change. Species that were once in crisis began to recover, not through divine intervention, but through cooperation and mutual aid. The chamber hummed with a warm energy, as if approving of this approach. The final chime sounded. The trial of compassion is complete. True compassion uplifts all, creating bonds that transcend individual struggles. The Zarquin and Novanite representatives were silent for a moment, seemingly processing what they had witnessed. Then, to Sarah's surprise, they both turned to her and bowed in their own alien ways. The Zarquin spoke first, its crystalline voice tinged with humility. "We came seeking power, but you have shown us wisdom." The Novanite pulsed in agreement. "We sought to protect knowledge, but you have shown us how to use it for the benefit of all." Before Sarah could respond, the chamber filled with a brilliant light. The nexus at the center of the facility pulsed with energy, and the disembodied voice spoke once more. "The trials are complete. The nexus recognizes the worth of all who stand here. But it is humanity, in its beautiful complexity, that has truly unlocked its potential. Commander Sarah Chen, step forward. The universe awaits." As Sarah approached the nexus, its swirling surface now a calm pool of starlight, she realized that this wasn't just a victory for her or even for humanity. It was the dawn of a new era of galactic cooperation. With trembling hands, she reached out to touch the nexus, ready to embrace the cosmic knowledge it offered. The fate of Earth, and indeed the entire galaxy, was about to change forever, and it all began with one human's ingenuity, unleashed among the stars. Cosmic Gammachanger. As Commander Sarah Chen's hand made contact with the nexus, the universe seemed to hold its breath. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a burst of light that outshone the stars themselves, knowledge began to flood into Sarah's mind. Eons of cosmic history unfolded before her consciousness. The birth of galaxies, the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the intricate dance of quantum particles that underpinned reality itself. All of it poured into her in a torrent of information that threatened to overwhelm her human brain. But Sarah held on, gritting her teeth against the onslaught. As the knowledge settled, she began to understand the true nature of the Nexus and humanity's unexpected role in the cosmic drama. The Nexus wasn't just a repository of knowledge. It was a node in a vast network of similar facilities scattered throughout the universe, each one waiting for the right species to unlock its potential. And humanity, in all its chaotic, creative, compassionate complexity, had just proven itself worthy of joining this galactic community. As the light faded and Sarah's vision cleared, she found herself standing before the awestruck Zarquin and Novanite representatives. But they weren't alone anymore. The chamber had expanded, revealing rows upon rows of holographic observers, representatives from countless alien civilizations, all watching this moment with bated breath. A new voice, somehow encompassing all the diversity of the cosmos, spoke. "Welcome, humanity, to the cosmic concord." Sarah's mind reeled as she processed the implications. "The cosmic concord?" she asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. The voice continued. "A union of sentient species dedicated to the preservation and advancement of life throughout the universe. For millennia, we have watched and waited for new civilizations worthy of joining our ranks. Today, humanity has proven its worth." The Zarquin representative stepped forward, its crystalline form shimmering with newfound respect. "We came seeking to claim this nexus for ourselves, blinded by our own ambition. But you, human, have shown us a better way." The Novanite pulsed in agreement, its energy form dancing with excitement. "Your species' ability to balance wisdom, creativity, and compassion is truly remarkable. We stand humbled before your potential." Sarah took a deep breath, the weight of this moment pressing down on her. She was no longer just an astronaut or even an ambassador for Earth. She had become the voice of humanity on a cosmic stage. "On behalf of Earth, I am honored by this recognition," Sarah began, choosing her words carefully. "But I must ask, why us? Why now? Surely there are other species out there more advanced, more unified than humanity." The cosmic voice responded, a hint of amusement in its tone. "Advanced technology and perfect unity are not what the universe needs, Commander Chen. It is your very imperfections, your struggles and your triumphs over adversity, that make humanity unique. Images flashed through Sarah's mind. Scenes from Earth's history, moments of both tremendous cruelty and incredible kindness. She saw wars and peace treaties, environmental destruction and conservation efforts, scientific breakthroughs and artistic masterpieces. You see, the voice continued, the cosmic concord needs species that understand conflict, that have faced existential challenges and overcome them. Your history, turbulent as it is, has forged in you a resilience and adaptability that many older species have lost. The Zarquin nodded its crystalline head. We have known peace for so long that we had forgotten how to face true challenges. Your approach to the trials showed us new ways of thinking. And your empathy, the Novanite added, your ability to understand and connect with others, even across vast differences. This is a rare and precious trait in the cosmos. Sarah's mind was racing, processing the implications of all this. So, what happens now? What does this mean for Earth? The cosmic voice took on a solemn tone. Now, Commander Chen, you face your greatest challenge yet. You must return to Earth and prepare your species for its new role in the cosmos. But be warned, with great knowledge comes great responsibility. The Nexus pulsed, and Sarah felt a new weight settle onto her consciousness. She now held the key to unlocking humanity's true potential: clean energy, interstellar travel, cures for diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia. But she also understood the dangers of advancing too quickly, of giving too much power to those who might misuse it. The path forward will not be easy. The voice cautioned. You must guide your species carefully, balancing progress with wisdom. The cosmic concord will watch and advise, but the choices must be humanity's own. Sarah nodded, her resolve strengthening. I understand. We've been given an incredible opportunity, and we won't waste it. The Zarquin stepped forward. The Zarquin Imperium pledges its support to humanity. We will share our knowledge of crystal technologies and quantum manipulation. Not to be outdone, the Novanite pulsed brightly. And the Novanites offer our expertise in energy manipulation and faster-than-light communication. Together, we will help humanity take its first steps into the galactic community. Sarah felt a surge of hope and excitement. The challenges ahead were enormous, but so were the possibilities. On behalf of Earth, I accept your generous offers. We look forward to working alongside you and all members of the Cosmic Concord. The chamber hummed with approval, the holographic observers nodding and gesturing in their myriad alien ways. The cosmic voice spoke one last time. Then let it be done. The Earth Nexus is now active, a beacon of hope in this sector of the galaxy. Commander Sarah Chen, you are hereby appointed as humanity's first cosmic emissary. With those words, the chamber began to shift and change. The alien technology that had lain dormant for eons came to life, interfaces reconfiguring themselves to be compatible with human physiology. Sarah turned to face the Nexus once more, its swirling surface now a window to the stars. She saw the familiar shape of the Milky Way, but now it was alive with points of light, other Nexus points, other civilizations waiting to connect. It's time to go home, Sarah said, a mix of excitement and trepidation in her voice. We had a lot of work to do. As she prepared to depart, Sarah's mind was already racing with plans. How to introduce Earth to the wider galactic community without causing panic. How to use the Nexus's knowledge to solve global problems without disrupting the natural course of human development. How to prepare humanity for its new role as a member of the Cosmic Concord. The Zarquin and Novanite representatives approached, ready to accompany her back to Earth as the first official alien ambassadors. Together, they stepped into a portal that would take them directly to the United Nations headquarters in New York. As the lunar facility faded from view, replaced by the familiar skyline of Manhattan, Sarah took a deep breath. In just a few moments, she would step onto the world stage and change human history forever. Well, she muttered to herself, a small smile playing on her lips, they wanted me to make a groundbreaking discovery. Can't get much more groundbreaking than this. With the weight of cosmic knowledge in her mind and alien ambassadors at her side, Commander Sarah Chen prepared to usher in a new age for humanity. The stars were no longer the limit, they were just the beginning. As the portal dissipated, leaving them on the steps of the UN building, Sarah squared her shoulders and stepped forward. It was time for humanity to claim its place in the cosmos. The Earth would never be the same again. The age of cosmic enlightenment had begun, and humanity was leading the charge.